All right, everybody. Welcome back to the YS channel. Today we're going to go back in time just a little bit during the Disney Renaissance, and we got a surprise movie for you all.
Yes. Today's movie is Atlantis Lost Empire, a movie that was both ambitious and also the beginning of the end for the Disney Renaissance, but we'll go over that later.
So, just for a backstory here, in case anyone's totally unaware, since as of this recording, Greek tragedies, we got Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey out again as of this recording, and of course, one of the most fabled Greek legends of all is the lost city of Atlantis. So, in case anyone's unfamiliar, the Greek legend Plato details the story of the great city of Atlantis, which is supposed to be like technologically advanced, and is like a super race of people. And long story short, it sinks beneath the ocean. There's some kind of earthly cataclysm, and the city of Atlantis sinks beneath the ocean to never be seen or heard from again. But regardless, so the overall plot of this movie is the main character who's portrayed by Michael J. Fox. His name is Milo Thatch. He's a scientist, archaeologist who, he's crazy about trying to find the lost city of Atlantis. And basically he's ridiculed amongst his peers and everything because, it's just this takes place like in the year 1914. But again, he's ridiculed, but at the same time, he's made headway. He's pursued other like lost treasures and shit. So he has like a track record of success. And even, he gets ridiculed. There's still enough interest to follow him and fund a trip. Basically, a group of mercenaries, he joins up with a group of mercenaries, and they go out on his expedition to find the city of Atlantis. In case, spoiler alert, they actually do find the city of Atlantis, where, of course, Milo and his crew of thugs, which we'll find out later, they run into the Atlanteans, and then their princess named Kita, they run into her, they get to know the city of Atlantis, and, a bunch of other crazy little shenanigans happen, right? He falls in love with her. And then it turns out the mercenaries are there to fucking plunder the city, right? They're bad people. What a shock. No one saw that coming. But this is all told in a way that's entertaining. It's a well done movie. I'm really surprised it didn't do better than it did in its initial box office run. But long story short, Milo discovers that the city of Atlantis is powered by, this jewel, whatever you want to call it. It's called the Heart of Atlantis. It's like a humongous crystal, not a jewel. And it's what's keeping those people alive. Because like his girlfriend, Princess Kita, is over 8,000 years old. And most of the other Atlanteans are several thousands of years old. So basically this crystal is keeping him immortal. And basically the mercenaries, again, spoiler alert, they betray Milo, and their whole purpose of being there is to steal the heart of Atlantis. And of course, they fail in stealing it. Milo teams up with the Atlanteans and Princess Kita, and they're able to keep the heart of Atlantis in Atlantis in the story. Besides the fact, he falls in love with Kita. Yay.
Well,
That's just a very quick
yeah,
summary of the movie.
yes. Well, the thing about this movie, I think part of the reason why it didn't do as well in the box office was 3D CGI animated movies were now taking center fold in the box office. I think the same year this movie came out, or maybe the year after, Shrek came out, and that opened Pandora's box when it came to that technology, because it means that Disney was not the gatekeeper of anime movies anymore. Like anymore, like when we came to 2D animation, Disney's biggest competition at the time was DreamWorks, who had made The Princess Egypt. Egypt, Egypt, and those who failed in that movie were sent to work on Shrek, which became the bigger hit of the two movies. But basically, DreamWorks was trying to compete with Disney in 2D animation category, and they ultimately lost because after Princess Egypt, I think all the other movies in that medium didn't do as well because CGI movies were now done better, had more detail, and you name it, and it was the future of animation. Disney kind of only press on with 2D animation because those they were bread and butter for a while, and they had success with Tarzan, which came out a couple of years before um Atlantis, but Tarzan did well at the box office, and they figured with the marketing blitz like they had for Tarzan, Atlantis would do as well. But the movie ultimately only made back its production budget and a little bit of change on the side, and it was the beginning and the end for the Disney Renaissance. So on, because other movies that came out in that medium of 2D animation either were not met with critical praise or flop at the box office or did both. Did both, but like and this was like Disney's last hurrah, hoping for both critical acclaim and a huge box office head and animation to the animation again, and then just underperformed. I think part of the reason was Atlantis was like even though the story of the Lost City of Atlantis is well known, like Disney didn't really try anything new with the movie apart from some production techniques like for example, like the main character of the movie, Milo Thatch, has a love interest, which is Princess Kida, and Disney tried to make Princess Kida like a true legit Disney princess, but like because this movie didn't do that well. Well, she's been kind of forgotten, and then Milo teams up with the mercenaries, and the core group of them are typical Disney characters. So you have the bubbling idiot, you have the wise strong man, you have a female character who's cute but not like feminine, and then you have the villains who are just after the riches of Atlantis. But again, the movie was the beginning, the end, and Disney after this movie just didn't put as much effort forward in their 2D animation movies as it should have done. Like I think the last time they actually put true effort into it was Lilo and Stitch, but not because they were worried about the production value of the movie. Like there was a key sequence in that movie that was animated before 9/11, and had to redo that sequence to avoid pissing off people people, and that was like I think the last time Disney tried to put any serious effort into their audience when it came to certain thing because with CGI animation you could fix that with far ease. But I think another reason why this movie didn't do as well, I think it's just the overall story. Like Atlantis, it was a highly advanced city. It sank into the ocean. The end. The end. The end. And Disney couldn't do any more with it. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean it's. I'm not gonna say it's a perfect movie. I mean it deviates so significantly from like the Disney animated, fucking formula, right? Especially during that Renaissance period. And this is with movies like The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Lion King, Hercules, Beauty and the Beast, right? And of course, I mean, we might be missing one or two in the mix. But these movies had a formula. They took these famous stories, dumbed them down for fucking kids, and they pretty much just made musicals out of all the shit, right? Um, Tarzan was a little bit of a deviation from that, just a bit. And then Disney's The Lost City of Atlantis was a stark departure from that formula. I mean, this is I really feel like this movie, even though like a PG or a G rating, like it was really intended for an adult audience, which is where I think they might have lost the plot as far as marketing is concerned. Just the tones and the themes of this movie, it's a significant departure. I mean, you can say what you want about the Michael J. Fox's Milo character. He's goofy and lighthearted, but everything else going on in the background is pretty fucking serious. It's no, it's a well told movie. It's a well made movie. I mean, I would argue. I mean, if you disregard the box office performance side of it, I mean, to me, it's a better movie than Aladdin, and I would say it's even better than The Little Mermaid. I mean, the Lion King is the gold standard as far as Disney's Renaissance shit is concerned. It's definitely better than that. But it's up there. It's different. Now, this era of Disney animated movies, you had Lilo and Stitch. You had again, you had The Emperor's New Groove. I mean, there might have been some one-off goofy ass movies somewhere in the mix. And then there was another one that's similar to this called Treasure Planet, which is criminally underrated. But unlike this one, which is more or less an original story, whereas all these other movies are retellings of fairy tales and other fables in folklore. This is pretty much an original story. Even Treasure Planet is just Treasure Island, but space. So I mean, Disney's Atlantis. It was very ambitious. Unfortunately, it missed the mark. But I mean, it has a strong cult following. Like it's too good of a movie to ignore, especially in that Disney catalog of movies. It's too good to ignore. But at the end, it just didn't live up to expectations. As you already alluded to, the rise of computer animated movies like Shrek definitely overshadow it. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think this came out around the same time that the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire came out. Which, if that's the case, that would have further diminished the fucking box office appeal.
Well,
so I mean, there you have
yeah,
it.
Yeah, this is my opinion.
It was just
yeah. Sorry,
like it was just done in by circumstances beyond its control.
Well, I was going to add, I think another reason why this movie didn't do as well in the box office is simply because 2D animation cartoons are viewed as children's entertainment. Atlantis, by Disney standards, is a serious movie. It's just like it was perceived as children's entertainment, and nothing more. But you get past the fact that it's like hand painted, hand drawn animation. It's a real told story. It's just Disney fumbled the marketing blitz for the movie, and people just didn't want to see it.
Yeah, that's it. At the end of the day, is what it is. But other than that, there's not much more else to add to this, other than to tell you all, go if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's like I said earlier, it's one of the stronger entries in the Disney Renaissance period. So if you're a fan of like your traditional 2D style animation, definitely for sure check this one out. Like it's worth it. It's a great watch. You have a great time. Other than that, if you like our content, drop a like, subscribe, and follow as always. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes. See you there, peeps. Okay.